Welcome back to Coronation Windsor, a weekly mini-series where we look into the history of the British monarchy and coronations. On the 2nd of June 1953, 27 million people witnessed the coronation of Queen Elizabeth II on their televisions. In addition, further 1.5 million people watched in public spaces like pubs and cinemas. It was a historical occasion since no public members had seen a coronation before. 69 years later, this tradition will continue with the coronation of Charles III and his Queen Consort Camilla. In today's video, we will be looking into the history of the venue where the King's coronation will be taking place, and the history of this iconic abbey. For over 1,000 years, Westminster Abbey has been the centre stage of the City of London. It's a symbol of beauty and power, whether royal or political. Like cathedrals in Britain, Westminster Abbey is a shrine dedicated to the last Saxon King of England. It has been the centre for royal coronations, weddings and funerals. It is an architectural masterpiece that represents a unique pageant. If you have visited Westminster Abbey, you know there are many places to visit, including the Lady Chapel, Poets' Corner and the Coronation Chair. It is best known for its cathedral architecture and history and connections with the English and then the British government. So what is the history behind this beautiful abbey? Chapter 1. The History of Westminster. The history of Westminster Abbey didn't start as an abbey, but it was a small Benedictine monastery founded around 960 AD. Nearly a century later, in the 1040s, the King, Edward the Confessor, had the monastery expanded into a stone church near Thorney Island near the River Thames. In honour of St. Peter the Apostle, the church Edward rebuilt was named Westminster, as it was built in the west of the City of London. The church had been consecrated on the 28th of December 1065. However, Edward was ill to attend the ceremony and he died a few days later. Edward was buried in front of the high altar. In 1245, King Henry III decided to rebuild the church into a new Gothic style, which had become very popular in Europe. Sadly, Henry died before the nave was finished. The church then became an abbey, and future kings commissioned and transformed the iconic building. This included Henry V when he commissioned an ornate chantry panel to be built on his tomb, and Henry VII, who built the famous Lady Chapel. In 1745, the two western towers were completed. Aside from its construction and reconstructions, Westminster Abbey has seen many changes within the Tudor period. Following the dissolution of the monasteries, after declaring himself head of the Church of England, Henry VIII dissolved the Benedict monastery and evicted some of the monks who lived there. Henry then appointed a new dean of the new cathedral church. There had also been a time when the abbey witnessed a bishopric era before it officially became a cathedral. During the reign of Mary I, the Catholic Queen restored the Benedict Abbey before her half-sister Elizabeth I removed the monks. In 1560, she established the Collegiate Church of St. Peter, Westminster. If you are confused by this and wondering if there's a separate building, Queen Elizabeth I declared this name for the abbey itself. It is currently the correct name for the abbey, though the Brits still call it the Abbey Westminster Abbey for short. Today, the abbey carries out many traditions, and it also houses many famous relics, as the famous Westminster School, which was founded there. Chapter 2. Westminster's connection to coronations. Although the Abbey is a burial place for some of the monarchs and famous figures, including Sir Isaac Newton and Charles Dickens, the Abbey is also a place for pilgrimage, especially when people visit the Abbey to pray for healing the sick. There is a belief that instead of St. George, Edward the Confessor is the true patron saint of England. The Abbey hosts a special pilgrimage known as the Octave of St. Edward, celebrating from the 13th to the 18th of October every year. It was because of Henry III's devotion to Edward the Confessor that he may have declared the Abbey to become a coronation church. However, there's no evidence to prove this. The first recording of a monarch to have a coronation at Westminster Abbey was William the Conqueror on Christmas Day 1066. Since then, every coronation has been held inside the Abbey, except for Edward V, who never had a coronation, and Edward VIII because he abdicated 11 months after being declared king. Although this could go on in more detail, there is so much to explain, and there has been a video which covered the coronation process as well as sharing details on the upcoming coronation of King Charles III. The link to this video will be in the card above and in the description box down below. If you would like to know more about Westminster Abbey, a link to the Abbey's website will be in the description box down below. There, you can find out about its fascinating history and its talks on services, tours, and upcoming events to the public following the coronation. Tune in tomorrow for a new video. If you enjoyed the mini-series, please like and subscribe. Thank you so much for your support, and until then, God save the King.